Hello again, everybody. He's Jethro. I'm Jed. She's Ellie Mae. No, wait. She's Granny. He's Mr. Drysdale. I miss Jane. No, none of that's true. This is Vikings Report, Drew and Ted, not the Beverly Hillbillies. How you doing, Drew?
Woohoo! Episode 19. Here we go. Vikings Report is live and on the air. How are you doing, Ted Glover?
Doing good, man. Sorry, my display might be a little bit different. Was having computer issues, so I'm doing this via 21st century technology called the iPhone. So please bear with us. We'll make it work.
What the hell's going on out here?
You need to have a tech guy there at the house all the time on call.
Unfortunately, I'm my tech guy, which means fired me for not having my stuff ready to go. Although I troubleshot, I had it. I went upstairs. I got everything set up. Went upstairs and came back down. It wasn't working.
Hello, your computer has virus.
One night we were going to start a show at Spanky's, and the bass tech was not there, and I was staring at my gear, and the guitar player said, "What's the problem?" I go, "Do you know how to turn this on?" You don't know how to turn on your own gear?
If you can see, the numbers all go to 11. Look, right across the board. 11, 11,
and most of
11, and
the amps go up to 10.
Exactly.
Thought I'd throw that in there. Beverly Hillbillies, Ted. I was not aware that the show was on TV 10 years.
Yeah. It transitioned from the black and white era to the color era, too, I believe.
274 episodes, only 5 off our leader with 279, which was Carol Burnett. I didn't realize they made that many episodes of the Beverly Hillbillies, but I love that show.
Admit it, you loved Miss Jane.
Ellie Mae. I was in love with Ellie Mae. I was in love. Donna Douglas passed away in 2015. Max Baer is the only one left. Jethro's the only one left. What an idea for a show. Unsophisticated, minimalistic, weird hillbilly people moving into Beverly Hills, causing a ruckus.
Going out to the cement pond. One of those great after-school shows for me. But I think it was in syndication by the time I got to it. But yeah, Ellie Mae. The first time I watched that show, the only reason I watched it was because of Ellie Mae Clampett. I'm not even going to lie, but it was a funny show in and of itself.
Old TV, you can't beat it.
No, you can't. It's still like all these shows we've talked about. I think just stands the test of time. Just great classic comedy.
And what about that theme?
It's a great tune in and of itself.
It's a great tune. I've been singing it all day.
Thanks, Doc Proto, for Beverly Hillbillies. We keep those requests coming in. We'll do what we can. Now, normally, we would do a player tribute or retrospect here, but shortly, a couple days after we recorded last week's show, former Vikings head coach Jerry Burns passed away at the age of 94. So tonight, Drew and I are going to spend a couple minutes talking about Burnsy, as he was so affectionately called. What are your recollections of the late great Jerry Burns, Trooster?
Dude, Jerry Burns was, I tell you, that guy, just a scruffy looking dude on the sidelines. Wherever Bud Grant was, Jerry Burns was. And he became such an important part of the Vikings. Then when he took over the Vikings in 86, it was like we were all saying Burnsy finally gets his shot. And he didn't disappoint. I mean,
no.
That crazy 87 season that we all talk about, those 2 huge upset wins in the playoffs, that was Jerry Burns' teams.
Yep.
And I think to this day, he's still the last coach to win 2 playoff games in a row, I think, as a Vikings coach.
He is. Denny Green never won 2 in a postseason. Childress never did. Yeah, he's it.
Jerry Burns was a football player for this school from 1947 to 1950.
Really?
Michigan, baby. Michigan. And then he got the head coaching job at Iowa from 61 to 65, I think it was. He coached Paul Krause. Paul Krause played offense and defense. Matter of fact, when Krause got into the Hall of Fame in 98, Jerry Burns did his induction speech, inducted him into the Hall of Fame. That was kind of a cool connection that Krause ended up being with the Vikings. But he was there, and then he left to go to the NFL, and that team from Wisconsin with Vince Lombardi, he was there 2 seasons, 66 and 67. And then when Lombardi retired in 67, Bud Grant hired him. Bud Grant had already known him. They had already known each other. Matter of fact, in 66 or 67, a year before Burnsy joined Bud's staff, Bud coached that season one coach short.
He did. He held that spot open for Jerry Burns, who still had 1 year left on his contract with
Right.
Green Bay.
Right. And I think he was, it's weird, Ted. I think he was a defensive coach for the Packers, which is strange because he came over and then for the next 18 years after he got to Minnesota in 1968, the next 18 years he ran the Vikings offense. And let's get something out there really clear right now. Right now. Jerry Burns created that West Coast offense. It was all him.
Yes, he did.
Tucker, the tight end, the line to the right, and that's just what he's doing. Here's Tucker on the rollout. Takes a look. Ricky Young.
If you look back at those Vikings teams, early 70s with Chuck Foreman, that very short passing game, and he emphasized it even more after Chuck Foreman got hurt because Ricky Young was a fantastic pass catcher out of the backfield, but just not a great running back. And the guys he had after Foreman were not really great runners. So he really refined and honed that West Coast offense that Bill Walsh gets credit for. That was invented on the Bloomington Prairie by Jerry Burns back in the day.
It's like all along the Watchtower, man. Yeah, that Hendricks never wrote it, but he got all the credit for it. Bill Walsh all along the Watchtower at Burnsy, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
And a lot of times Bud Grant would say the biggest thing with Jerry Burns is he'll see everything that's happening on the field before we all see it. And that was such a huge help to Bud Grant to be able to see how plays are going to develop even before they're going to happen. Just a great football mind.
And I always wondered why, after Bud Grant retired after the 83 season, why Les Steckel got the job and not, because everybody kind of assumed Jerry Burns was gonna get the job. Then they gave it to Steckel, who was a disaster. Grant came back for 1 year, and then they gave it to Jerry Burns.
Why would you give it to Steckel?
I don't know.
Burns was clearly the guy to move into that position, which he did 3 years later. I mean, come on.
Yeah. He had quite a successful run. He had that great 87 playoff run. We talked about the two upsets, that one San Francisco game. To my I firmly believe that was still the greatest game in Minnesota Vikings history, the biggest, most important game. In terms of what was at stake and how they were like 15-point underdogs heading into San Francisco. That was like the best, most complete game I think a Minnesota Vikings team has ever played in the postseason.
100% agree with you. That was, and the fact that I was there is big icing on the cake. But it was the best Viking day I have ever experienced.
How was it being? You actually attended that game?
I have never heard. I've been to a lot of football games, even like hockey games or whatever. I've never heard of that many people be that quiet. I was in the end zone right where Rutland ran the ball in. He was running towards me. He's running towards me. After he took that interception in, I had a buddy who was a Niner fan sitting across the other end zone, and I could hear him screaming. Chris Dolman was giving Montana crap all day. Anthony Carter. Was just one of those days when everything went right, and it was kind of like misty and crappy and kind of rainy. So you get that drunk kind of drenchy feeling.
Oh snap! Hopper the Weasel. So happy!
You're all lathered up, but it's not the rain's not. The rain's actually adding to the fun,
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? I like it. I was all over the place, dude.
That's awesome.
I was 22 years old. I was every bit of 22 years old, man. I was trying to jump out in the middle of the aisle and do some Bruce Lee. It was awesome. The first thing I thought of when I heard Burns passed away, well, the rant was the first thing I thought of. We can't go with not talking about the rant.
Yeah, that rant, I don't know that we'll play it. Now, this is a game the Vikings won, mind you, in overtime. They won this game. I think it was Denver they beat. I can't remember.
It's an 89 game against the Rams when Merriweather blocked the punt.
In overtime. And they won 23-21, and they got all their 21 points on field goals. Rich Carlos field goals.
How do we remember that?
I don't know. But Burns, after the game, just goes on the most epic post-game rant that has ever been done by a head coach. You think Denny Green's rant he had against when he was a Cardinals coach, they were who we thought they were?
The Bears are who we thought they were. And that's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
Nothing. That is nothing
You
compared
know
to what.
Ted, we can't have a righteous Jerry Burns show without the rant. Toonsis, can we play the rant or part of it or something? We gotta have the rant in here, guys.
Yeah. Everybody. And no smarter coordinator in football.
Rest in peace, Coach Burns. Great head coach for the Vikings and an offensive, innovative mind back when the game was really coming into its own as the national pastime to replace baseball. Just a great coach, just an absolute great coach.
24 years spent with the Vikings. He had 4 Super Bowl appearances. And how about this, Ted? 11 Central Division championships he was part of.
Jeez.
And this kind of puts a good bow on Burnsy. During his 24 years with the Minnesota Vikings, 15 of those 24 teams were playoff teams.
Wow.
Jerry Burns was about getting his team to the postseason. That's what he was about. That is really impressive.
So you're saying that's better than missing the playoffs 4 out of 7 years?
Yeah.
Just be good every other year.
But we're going to play better next time. We need to play better up against Jerry's rant in '89. I want to see those two going head to head.
You know, they manhandled us up front pretty well with the front guys and linebackers, but we didn't tackle. And then when we had chances, we didn't cover very well today. Guys were corners, guys, defensive backs came off the receivers and
Ring of Honor 2005, rest in peace, Jerome Monahan Burns, Ted, one of the greats.
Just a great coach.
Yeah.
All right. So last week our plan, we were gonna do kind of a live hit when the Vikings schedule dropped last Wednesday. Unfortunately, I forgot that I had to go out of town. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over the schedule. Before we get to the schedule, though, right before that happened, there was or right after that happened, whatever, a couple days ago. It doesn't matter. It looks like
I love Ted Glover, man. He's the best.
Mike Hughes got traded. Brewster, remember we've talked about the offseason and the Vikings secondary and depth was kind of a concern. And then a few days ago, they up and trade former first-round pick Mike Hughes and a 7th-round pick to the Kansas City Chiefs for a 2022 6th-round pick. What are your thoughts on that move? You like apples? I like them apples.
Well, wasn't a real big fan because that's the one position I like to have extra players at.
Yeah,
we've talked about that in the past. I think, and sure, Mike Hughes, there gets to be a point with the injuries, come back, another injury. There gets to be a point where you got to say enough's enough. I get that. And that's what I'm hearing from a lot of people right now. 3 seasons with Minnesota, Ted, 7 starts. That's not very productive.
It's just not. And I mean, I think it's fair to say he's a bust. Injuries have been a big contributing factor to that. But
you know what's going to happen now, don't you? You go ahead and tell me. You've been a Viking fan as long as I have. Go ahead. Tell me what's going to happen.
He's not only going to go to the Pro Bowl,
mm-hmm.
He is going to be the Super Bowl MVP for the Kansas City Chiefs because he's probably going to have like 2 pick sixes to beat, hopefully, I don't know, somebody, maybe Brady again. I don't know. They didn't exercise his 5th-year option, so this was going to be his last year. So on the one hand, you can say, hey, at least they got something for him. They had to give up him and a 7th to get a 6th-round pick, but they got something for him, which is better than nothing, I guess. I don't know.
Just move your body, man. Just feel the rhythm of the universe at your fingertips, man.
Wasn't it good enough just to give him Hughes for the pick? Why was what's a 7th rounder? Why do you have to give him that? Well, I don't get it.
I don't know, because
that's stupid.
Rick Spielman loves 7th round picks like Charlie Sheen loves cocaine.
Last time I took drugs, I probably took more than anybody could survive. I don't know, man. I was banging 7-gram rocks and finishing them because that's how I roll. I have one speed. I have one gear. Go.
So I'm just not sure how that happened, but it did.
Hail to the victor.
I don't know. So now, sorry.
Oh, that puts it first. I mean, you get a former 1st-round pick for a 6th-round pick. Okay. Why are they adding something? Oh, take a 7th too. It's all good.
Well, here's the thing. To me, the trade didn't make sense because if nothing else, I think we both agreed that if Hughes was healthy, he would be solid depth guy.
Oh,
back at Patrick Peterson, Cam Dantzler. So by trading him, now they have a depth issue, which, hold your horses.
Oh, no.
I believe they have solved it, because just today, this Monday, it was announced the Minnesota Vikings have signed cornerback Perry Nickerson, a 6th-round pick in 2018 out of Tulane.
I feel like Jethro right now when Granny told him to go out and find a cow.
So here's some highlights. Here's some career highlights for Mr. Perry Nickerson. Perry Mason Nickerson.
Is that his real name?
No, no. Oh. He has had 4 teams, 1 defended pass, and 0 interceptions since 2018.
4 teams since 2018.
Yeah.
Danger. Who's that, Ted?
Danger. No, Will Robinson.
What show is that?
That would be the robot from Lost in Space. Now,
that's Danger Will. 4 teams in that amount of time is Danger Will Robinson.
Now, I'm not saying that this is a risky move, but I'm thinking I've got a better chance to pick up a Wi-Fi signal in an Amish farm than Perry Nickerson has to make this roster.
We've been spending most our lives living in an Amish paradise.
So is this a good move? Is this a future Amish farmer for Mike Hughes a good deal?
Sorry. How do you hit me with that and then ask me a question and expect me to respond? You can't expect me to go from laughter to a serious Viking question. I don't. Geez, that's not very reassuring.
I mean, look, maybe there's something. Got a long way to go. You've got more mini camps and OTAs and then training camp, and we'll see. But it just feels like a move. For as injured as Hughes was and for as disappointing as he has been as a 1st-round draft pick, I still think that's hard to say. It's hard to say that this is even a lateral move. It just feels like a downgrade.
Is it going to be better than Hughes? That's what you want to know.
Right now, I'm going to say no.
Well, so it's a transaction. I understand then.
So that's the big news. So the Vikings cornerback depth has been solved temporarily with the acquisition of Mr. Perry Nickerson.
Yeah, I have the power of God.
All right, we're back. I'm back to normal, or as normal as I could be.
You've never been normal, man.
Do you think I'm weird? Definitely. No, man, seriously. Am I weird? Yeah, but so what? Everybody's weird.
You know what you got to give us right now so we can get on track? If we're back, you got to tell me we're back in black. Go ahead.
How's everybody doing tonight? What is it back in black? All right. So Perry Nickerson on the roster for now. Last Wednesday, the Vikings schedule came out, Drew.
Yes, it did.
And it looks to be kind of a I think it's the fourth or fifth toughest schedule based on last year's winning percentage of other teams right now.
Fifth, yes.
Fifth toughest.
Fifth toughest.
We are going to go through the games here, and we're going to give you our kind of game by game predictions, and let's kind of break it down into quarters. We'll do 4, 4, 4, and then 5. Since one of the new things about this year is a 17th game that we're going to have, but we'll start with week 1. You know what? Let's just hop around here. Let's go to week 11. We're home against Green Bay. Week 1 at the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase. The LSU National Championship connection is back.
No.
Is that going to be a winnable game?
Bengals were 4-11, 29th on offense, 26th on defense. If the Vikings lose this opener, this is probably, being that it's the opener, this is probably the most winnable game on the schedule. They have to win. I know you never heard of a must-win before the season even started. They have to win this game, Ted.
So their first 2 games are at Cincinnati and at Arizona. But I will tell you, they're going to lose one of these 2 games. I just don't see the Vikings winning 2 straight road games to open the year. I hope they do, but I think they'll beat Cincinnati, and I think they'll lose to Arizona. I think Arizona's a pretty good young football team.
The Bengals are still trying to piece it all together. We should start off by saying what the Vikings are 7-9. They were the 4th ranked offense. They were 27th on defense. So that's going to run continuous when we do the schedule.
Yeah.
4th ranked offense, 27th ranked defense. But that is a game. They got to beat Cincinnati on the road. And I know I like starting out with 2 road games, Ted. I love it.
Do you?
Yeah, because I think if it's like getting the hard work done ahead of yourself, knowing you're going to go home for 3 straight. So if you can pull out, at least a split out of these games, you got a chance to be coming out pretty good. But if you win your first 2 and they're on the road, you're sitting really well for the first quarter of the season. So I like starting on the road. It'd be a good test for the Vikings. So I'm putting myself down for a loss in that. Toonses, what do you think for Cincinnati?
Win.
Win.
Toonses has the win. What about Arizona?
Loss.
So all of us have us losing that game, Ted.
Okay.
And that's mainly because the Cardinals are going to be pretty damn good.
I think they are too. I think they're going to be a pretty good football team.
They were what, 8-8 last year. They had the 6th ranked offense last year, but they've added Rondale Moore. Our boy went there. They picked up AJ Green. They got a lot of offensive line help they brought in because they know their offensive line sucked, and they got that Zaven Collins linebacker from Tulsa, the best linebacker in the draft almost. So
Mike Zimmer has started 2-0 once. That was that 2016 year when they went 5-0 and then missed the playoffs.
Come on, rookie.
So that is the first 2 road games we all think they're going to split. Week 3, home against the Seattle Seahawks. What are your thoughts on that game, Drew?
I think it sucks.
Being that Seattle's beat us, 117 times in a row? I mean, no, in all honesty, they beat us, 7 times in a row? Lost the last 7 games against Seattle. Russell Wilson's never lost to the Vikings. I can't pick the Vikings, even if they are at home. I'm picking Seattle. I don't want to, but the Vikings leave me no choice.
Yeah, I'm there's just Russell Wilson's going to figure out a way to win that game at the end. We all talked about the Vikings defense. We talked about it off season. I think the Vikings defense is going to be better, but I think they're going to have some early season growing pains because, again, you have several new faces, albeit they're more experienced. They're veterans. I think it's still going to take a little bit of time, even with less preseason games now, especially less time to work together. It's going to take time for that defense to come together and gel. So I think that's going to be a home loss too. Toonses, what are you thinking for Seattle?
I'm going to go against you guys. I know that there's a lot of games where, people say, oh, they're definitely going to win, or oh, they're definitely going to lose. So I'm just going to say this one, everybody's going to think they're going to lose, but they're going to win.
Okay.
That's a fair observation. That happens fairly regularly. All right, so now we've got week 4.
Skid marks.
The Cleveland Browns come to town. Fighting Stefanskis. I think Stefanski knows Zimmer's defense. I think he's got the players to exploit the defense's weaknesses, and I think the Browns are going to come in and beat the Vikings pretty soundly.
Tomo, you magnificent bastard! I read your book.
There's no way I can go against you on that thought process. I don't know what I was just thinking about there. I was thinking about they got Greg Newsome, then they got Koromoa, who I said was going to be Defensive Rookie of the Year. I don't know how the hell they got him in the second round, but they got him.
Yeah.
Cleveland. This just in. Cleveland's going to be really good, Ted. And Toon says, I don't see us winning this game.
I don't either. Toonsis, what about you?
Yeah, they're going to lose this game. You're right.
All right, so at the quarter poll, I've got the Vikings at 1-3. I've got the win against Cincinnati and then 3 straight losses against Arizona, Seattle, and Cleveland.
That's what I have.
Ruby, you've got them at 2-2.
Yes, she does.
So week 5, home against the Detroit Lions. I think the Vikings win that game, but 4 players will be put on IR as their kneecaps get bitten off by Dan Campbell. So it will be a Pyrrhic victory.
What the hell is a Pyrrhic victory?
It's a win that is so awful it's also considered a loss because all the injuries.
All right, we call it a draw.
So we are the kings of Pyrrhic victories.
Yeah, I think they beat Detroit week 5.
Yeah, we're gonna end the 3-game losing streak with myself too. I'm gonna take the Vikings on this specific. This will be out. They'll end the homestand with at least 1 win right here.
Yeah.
It'll be a tough fought game. There'll be a lot of kneecaps missing, but the Lions are still the Lions. Even though I did say last show they're going to make drastic improvements, but I think with Goff, if you have a new quarterback, it takes a little bit of time to roll into the system. You're more looking at mid-season before you hit your stride. Yeah. Vikings at least have Cousins, who he's really familiar with the offense, and I think that's the difference.
Ruby?
Yeah, I agree with you. They're going to win this one.
Okay.
All right. Week 6 at Carolina. Drew?
I think I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is a real game the Vikings will win. I kind of feel good about this. The headless Panthers. Panthers had a lot of problems last year. They've improved a little bit, and they got my number 1 defensive tackle in the draft with Davion Nixon. They had a pretty good draft. I have them winning this game in Carolina.
I do too. Couldn't agree with you more. Ruby?
This is another one where I'm going to go. Everybody's thinking easy win, and they're going to lose.
Happens once a year.
Yes.
That happens every year. They win a game they have no business winning, and they lose a game they have no business losing. All right. Week 7, bye. The bye will probably be favored by 2.5 points. I think the Vikings pull a big upset on the bye that week.
Are you feeling satisfied now, Teddy? Because I can go on busting you up all night.
Pay that man his money.
I got us losing the bye with a fumble at the end. The other team kicks a 62-yard field goal.
Week 8, their first primetime game of the year, home against the Dallas Cowboys, Sunday Night Football. They lose that game. They lost at home to the Red Rifle Cowboys last year.
That's terrible, dude.
It's a primetime game. Yippee.
And
I'm a big fan of prime time.
What are they doing? I can see it already. First quarter. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Shoot me into the sun in that game.
They're killing me, Whitey. They're killing me.
Something bad's going to happen. Here it is, 4 months away, and it already feels like we're gonna lose.
Yeah.
I don't feel good about that game either. Sunday Night Football, prime time at home. We should be. I mean, the way the schedule's playing out, it's got to be almost a must-win at that point for the Vikings because they got a tough schedule the rest of the way. But I'm going to call that a loss also. Toonses.
Yep, I'm with you guys. There's another loss.
And then week 9, 8th game of the year at Baltimore. Ruby, why don't you kick this one off? You think the Vikes are going to beat Baltimore or not?
That will be a win.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
You think we can control Lamar Jackson?
Maybe that'll be a lose. No. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to say they surprise us and they win.
That's not prime time, is it?
What's that phrase you used, Drew?
We're going to get our tits licked.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
We are going to get our tits licked that night.
So through the first 8 games, I have the Minnesota Vikings at 3-5. We both have them at 3-5.
We don't have much faith in this team, do we?
No. No.
Well, they got to prove it to us. Look what they showed us last year.
So the next 4 games. So week 10, it's technically a road game, but it's the Los Angeles Chargers, who has a team with no fan base, no loyalty. The last time the Vikings played played the Chargers in LA, I think it was in 2019. They had 80% of the crowd were Vikings fans, so that's going to be a de facto home game.
But now they got Herbert, and they got an offensive line they seemingly have fixed.
But the Chargers, every year they have really good teams on paper, and they start out like 2-7
every time, and then they make a run. They move 5 or 6 in a row, and then they.
So, do you have them winning this game or not?
Let Toonses pick. I got to think about it for a second.
Win.
I'm going to go right with you. I got to make it a clean sweep.
Week 11, that team from Wisconsin. Now, if Blake Bortles trots out as your starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, the Vikings are going to win this game. I'm counting this as a win. I think regardless, they're going to split. I think Rodgers plays. I think Rodgers plays for the Packers. We've talked about that. And I think they're going to split this. They're going to split the series. So I'm going to count the home game as a win here.
That you just convinced me, Ted. I'm going to take the home win here also.
Me too.
All righty. Week 12 at San Francisco. Jimmy Garoppolo's back. I've got this as a loss.
I think we got that. I'm putting this down for a loss.
Yeah, I agree. That one's going to be a loss.
Ted, Drew, Toonses, all with an L.
So, week 13 on the road at Detroit.
On the road again.
Drew, what do you think?
We are going to lose this game.
I say win.
Now that we beat Green Bay and then we lose 2 in a row. That's exactly what I'm hearing right now.
I agree with Ted. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to sweep Lions.
So that third quarter, I have them going 3-1, and now they are back on the Ted Glover predictive schedule at 6-6, and everybody's talking Super Bowl, homeboy. Woo!
Super Bowl, homeboy.
Got to 500.
I have them going 2-2 during that span for Drew, which puts my overall ranking at 3-5 and 2-2 is 5-7.
All right. So the last 5 games. Week 14 is the Vikings' next foray into primetime. Home against the Pittsburgh Roethlisbergers. A Thursday night game. I have that as a loss.
That's going to be a tough game to win.
Home,
but the Vikings are going to
primetime.
get it done. They're going to get it. They're going to win a primetime game.
You think so?
Yeah, I think the home teams have a tremendous advantage on Thursday Night Football. I really think they do.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I don't think it's a fluke that majority of the time the home team has won those games. So I'm putting the Vikings down for winning that one.
Yeah,
Ruby?
I agree. I think that the Steelers are on a downhill trend, and they're going to win that one.
I think the short turnaround, primetime game. It comes down to a better coached team, and I think Mike Tomlin has a better coached team than Mike Zimmer does. But then they have like 10 days off because they don't play again until the next Monday, and they are at Soldier Field against the Chicago Bears. I mean, we're just going to go L across the board because they never won at Soldier Field.
23 yards of total offense by the third quarter, 1 first down.
Kirk Cousins is going to go 24-36 for 82 yards and no touchdowns.
Justin Fields will have 352 yards rushing.
Fields is going to go 10 for 11 for 412 and 6 touchdowns.
Like 10 stats, 24 completions for 82 yards.
He's going to miss C.J. Ham on a fly route like he does every year in Pittsburgh.
So we're all going L on that?
Yeah, I've got an L. Monday night in Chicago? No. The next week, Rams at home.
Rams at home.
What do you think, Drew?
You guys are going to be angry. I got to go Rams.
I think the Rams are going to win that game too. I think the Rams are one of 2, maybe 3 teams in the NFC that are a legit Super Bowl contender as it stands right now. Ruby?
I agree. That's a loss.
Week 17, Sunday night, Lambeau Field.
That's a primetime game? I don't have it written down as that.
It's a primetime game, at least right now, until the Vikings get flexed out of it because they're out of the playoffs. But yeah, right now it's a primetime game.
Oh man! Well, I called the split earlier, so I got to give this one to the team from Wisconsin.
Yep, me too. Ruby?
Yeah, they're gonna lose. Yeah.
Sunday night, Blake Bortles going to go for 355 yards, and then to wrap it up at home, a meaningless end of regular season game against the Chicago Bears.
We never win. For some reason, we never beat those guys on the end of the year. Never.
Justin Fields will be sitting because the Bears are going to the playoffs, and the Red Rocket is going to do a Chase Daniel on us because it's over with. Zimmer's probably been fired by this point.
I'm going to give the Vikings this one. I think this is finally we're going to beat the Bears at the end of this. Do we?
Yeah, I've got it as a win.
Of every year, is that?
It feels like it. Yeah, I've got this as a win.
And Tootses?
Yeah, I've got it as a win too because it's not going to matter. So they'll win.
They always win the games that don't matter.
I have the Vikings as a 7-win football team this year.
I got them as a 7-10 team.
Yeah, we both. I think Drew, Ruby, you might have had like maybe a win or 2 better than us.
Toonses has the Vikings winning 9 games.
All right.
She has 9-8, and we have 7-10.
Yeah, man, that's a really tough schedule.
I think what stands out to me the most, I'll give you 2 little areas. Those 3 home games in a row, weeks 3, 4, and 5.
Okay.
I think they have to build up. They have to figure out a way to win these games to get ahead of themselves before they run into the midpoint of the season. But the stretch that really concerns me is after that Chargers game, when they have the team from Wisconsin at 49ers, at Lions, and then the Steelers at home. I think that little 4-game chunk is going to let us know if we're in position to make a postseason run.
You know, if they can win those first 2 road games and then start out fast at home and maybe come out of that streak 4-1, that's right. And they have the potential to do that. I mean, I think the defense is going to be better. I'm probably a lot more pessimistic than normal just because of last year and the turnovers and personnel and everything. And I think part of me that feels that the offense is going to be good, but I don't think it's going to be as good as last year. I just think they're due for a natural regression. It just happens. I mean, but if the offense can elevate its play and maintain where it was and possibly even get a little bit better and get more efficient in the red zone and score touchdowns and not have to rely on field goals, it's possible. But based on from last year transitioning to this year, we'll see. But everything always looks tougher in the spring than it usually turns out to be by the time they start playing the games. So let's see what happens. But none of us have. So Ruby, at the 9-8, you have the Vikings making it in the playoffs as a wild card.
Hello. Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me?
No.
I don't think so.
Unfortunately, no.
And then at 7 and 10, yeah, they're not going to the
Can I
playoffs.
ask you guys a question real quick?
Yeah.
You guys each give me 2 of the top teams in each conference real quick.
I'm going to go with the Rams and the Buccaneers. In the AFC, I'm going to go Chiefs and Ravens.
And so Ted has Rams, Buccaneers, Chiefs, and Ravens.
I'm going to go Tampa Bay and Seattle. And Kansas City and Buffalo.
Oh, Buffalo's a good choice.
That is a good choice. I got Buccaneers. I'm going to say Rams also. And then for the AFC, I'm with Toonses. Chiefs and Bills. Chiefs and Bills. Chiefs and Bills.
All right. So I think that will do it for our Vikings talk and our NFL schedule preview. Let's go ahead and we'll get to a commercial. We'll come back. We've got special trivia tonight. We've got a fan, a viewer doing trivia for us tonight. So come back from the commercial and we'll have Mr. Ed Zeidler running the trivia for us tonight.
Yeah, Eddie!
You can try hard, or you can try soft. Soft will get 'em every time. Love's Baby Soft. You can play hard, or you can play soft. Soft will make 'em toe the line. Love's Baby Soft. You can love hard, or you can love soft. Soft will make his love light shine. Love's Baby Soft. Soft, fresh, slightly sexy scent from Love with Love.
What you doing, Granny?
Making myself a new pipe.
Oh, I got something here you're going to cotton to. That banker fella gave them to me.
What's that?
Winston cigarettes. Try one, Granny. They is first rate.
If you say they're really good.
Best smoking you ever had.
By thunder, Jed, that is good smoking.
Now try it this way, Granny.
Tastes even better.
They tell me these Winstons is the best tasting cigarette you can get.
Well, I may put away my corn cob. That's saying a heap for 'em.
You know, Granny, there just ain't no way of saying how good a Winston is. You gotta smoke one to find out.
Well, I can say this. Winston tastes mighty good.
Like a cigarette should.
From the Zoom app and the Vikings report, here are the newlyweds. Yes, it's the newlywed game.
Oh, my God.
Now let's meet our couple for today. Couple number 1 are on their 19th episode. The neat but uptight Ted and his cuddle partner, the sloppy and easygoing Drew. And I'm your host, Ronnie Lotz. Ronnie Lotz. So,
This what a hell of an intro.
one of you will stay with me while the other goes off to our waiting room. You'll be using your pieces of paper to answer questions as you predict how your handsome partner will answer the same question when he returns. If his answer matches your prediction, that's the way you score points. You get 5 points for questions in the first round, add 10 points for every question in the second round, then you'll have a 25-point bonus question. Viewers came to me too, and they wanted to check your guys' on-air chemistry, and this depends on how many points you guys get. So you guys are probably going to disagree with the last one, but I did my best. So, Drew,
Excellent.
Ted, if you guys scored 10 points or less,
yeah,
your on-air chemistry is Kirk Cousins and Tajay Sharp. To bring it up a little bit, 15 to 25 points, we'll give you Kirk Cousins and Chad Beebe.
Wow.
Wow. That's an
Now we
increase.
need to bump it up. 30 to 45 points, Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson.
Play fake. Cousins taking a deep shot. Jefferson's got separation, and he's got the catch inside the 40. Jefferson still going. See you later. Justin Jefferson, have a day.
booking on right there.
If you can manage 50 points or more, I put down Warren Moon and Chris Carter.
Oh.
That's it.
That's reaching for the stars right there, bro.
All right.
Yeah, we all know you can't do it, but I figured I'd put it out there for you.
I'm glad you have faith in us, Eddie.
All right, so we'll begin the show with Ted secluded in the waiting room. These are our 5-point questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, Drew. Who would Ted say sends in the most difficult questions for viewer choice trivia?
I got it. Done. Tony Bell.
Tony Bell. I've heard that name. Although I've heard Reggie's name a lot too.
Oh, he could pick that too. That's very true.
All right, Drew, how would your partner complete this sentence? Yeah, I know Drew is handsome, but blank is the best looking QB I've ever seen. How would Ted complete that sentence?
I'm going to go with Justin Fields because he loves his Justin Fields, man.
All right, Drew.
All right.
Who would Ted say is the star of the Vikings report?
He would say Toonces.
Oh, wow.
That's what I'm going to hold up.
And you're going to hold those up when he comes back in. And question number 4. Your partner takes your hand and pulls you to the dance floor. They say the DJ is playing your song. What song is it?
We're going to go with the OSU fight song. OSU fight song.
All right. And this is a 2-parter.
Okay.
How would Ted finish this sentence? The ultimate QB would have the scrambling ability of blank and the arm strength of blank.
He would have the scrambling ability of Fran Tarkington and Brett Favre. Brett Favre, as John Madden would say. And with his running around, he throws the ball at Brett Favre. And then there's boom.
That's got to make the cut somewhere.
Brett Favre. And Brett Favre. And Brett Favre. Okay. So I got all my answers in order here.
Perfect. So we bring Ted back. I'll ask some questions. And then once he answers, I'll just ask you to hold up your answer.
What if it came back on and Ted had his face painted like a mime?
Or if his shirt was off.
He's all oiled up like Hulk Hogan. And he had the fake Hulk Hogan mustache.
And he had the little Rustlers Macho Man behind him. We weren't talking about you, Ted.
Okay. Let me tell you, brother.
All right. Ted, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Who would you say sends in the most difficult questions for viewer choice trivia?
Tony Bell.
Tony Bell. And your partner said Tony Bell. Toonces, that's 5 big ones. That's how you get the points. All right, Ted. How would you complete this sentence? Yeah, I know Drew is ravishingly handsome, but blank is the best looking QB I've ever seen.
Tommy Kramer.
Tommy Kramer. Oh, he said Justin Fields. And
all right.
Tajay.
All right.
Question number 3, Ted. Who is the star of the Vikings report?
Toonces.
Ooh.
And I said,
I know this one. He paid you a little compliment too. All right, Ted. Drew takes your hand and he pulls you to the dance floor. The DJ is playing your song. What song is it?
Immigrant Song, Led Zeppelin.
I went Vikings report and said the OSU fight song.
Wow.
I took a chance. I went Fields, OSU fight song. I was kind of trying to think because I know you're a Buckeye through and through.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. That's very gracious, dear.
We're gonna. If I ever pull Ted Glover to the dance floor, somebody hit me in the face with a square point shovel.
It'll be me.
Yeah.
This is a good question right here, though. You're gonna like this one.
All right, Ted. Finish this sentence. It's a two-parter.
Okay.
Finish this sentence. The ultimate QB would have the scrambling ability of blank and the arm strength of blank. The scrambling
ability of Fran Tarkington and the arm strength. Michael Vick.
And Drew said
Brett Favre. Yeah. Ted. God, all right. I knew that.
He was a Viking.
I was gonna go Brett Favre or Jeff George.
I almost said Jeff George.
All right. Now these will be worth 10 points, and let's have Drew go to the waiting room. All right, Ted. 10 pointers, the big ones.
Okay.
How would Drew finish this rant? Dakota Dozier? Ridiculous. We also should have never signed this player either.
Chad Beebe.
Chad Beebe. And if you get it right, you're on Chad Beebe level. All right. All right, Ted. Of you and Drew, who would Nikki Sixx's mother say is the better kisser?
Drew was in the rock and roll life, so I'm going to say Drew.
All right. How would Drew answer this question? Everyone should make Whoopi blank times a month because that's the number of my all-time favorite Vikings player.
88.
88. And next question. How would Drew answer this question? If they make a movie of the Vikings report, I should be played by blank.
I'm going, all right, let me go George Clooney.
And our last question. How did you first meet your partner?
Through the Gallahorn. Actually, well, yeah, through an old Vikings Facebook fan page. Can we just say Vikings fan page on Facebook?
Perfect. Perfect. All right, we're ready to bring Drew back. We're going to see if you can answer the questions the way that Ted predicted you would answer them. So, Drew, how would you finish this fantastic rant? Dakota Dozier? Ridiculous. We should have also never re-signed blank either.
Come on, you can do it. You can see this name on the other side of this piece of paper. You can see it.
You know what? Send him a message. I want to go from Tajay Sharp to Chad Beebe. We have to get this message.
Why did they resign? It's going to be something really obvious, and I'm going to blow it.
Yeah.
I guess I'm going to say Anthony Barr.
It says Chad Beebe.
Oh.
All right, Drew.
I'm sorry.
You're still at Tajay Sharp. You're looking up at Chad Beebe still. But somehow I have a feeling you're going to get up to 20 points on this one, Drew. This is a 10
okay.
Also. Of you and Ted, who would Nikki Sixx's mother say is the better kisser?
Most definitely it would be me.
And Ted said most definitely he wouldn't kiss Nikki Sixx's mother. All right, Drew. How would you answer this question? Everyone should make Whoopi blank times a month because that's the number of my all-time favorite Vikings player.
29!
29! No! Chad said 88.
Carl Kasolke is my favorite Viking.
Oh, wow.
Alan Page is my second favorite Viking.
Let's try this one.
Okay.
And this one's right up your alley. If they make a movie of the Vikings report, who would play the star of the show? You. Who would play Drew Bunting?
The guy who played Pyle in Full Metal Jacket.
Ha! This is my gun. There are many like it, but this one is mine. George Clooney.
I thought he was going to say Wilford Brimley.
Or Gerard Depardieu.
Oh, man, I'm letting us down, Ted.
Yeah, that's all right.
Last of the 10 pointers. Drew, how did you first meet your partner?
It was in a Vikings group.
I believe it was, and Ted said Vikings
Yes.
fan page.
Yes.
So you know what? If you get this final one for 25 points, you're over 50. But the chances of that are slim.
Okay.
This one is 25 points. Your only hope to break 50. So you guys are both going to write down your answers, and then we'll show them. What will the Vikings record be during the 2021-2022 season with 17 games for 25 points? There's my script. All right. Do you want to show your answer? Actually, hold on. Toon says, what would you have said?
7 and 10.
Drew, what did you say? 7 and 10. 7 and 10.
We're all happy for 7 and 10. We got it, Ted. Hey,
high five.
Wait, we get more because Toons answered it too, so we get bonus on top of the 25. We
You
get
know what
35.
that showed? You, Drew and Ted have the ultimate chemistry. All 7 and 10 for everybody watching the show. That's what we have to look forward to next year. 7 and 10.
That was a hell of a game.
Well, glad you could join us, Ed. Thanks for that was a great game, by the way. That was an awesome game.
Good to see you, Ted. Drew, Ruby.
Bye.
Eddie, come back on and do another game in a few months. The next step, when we get some episodes going, be our game guy. Come back.
I want to see somebody else do one too.
Gives Toons a break, but you did a hell of a job. A great effort you put into that.
Yep.
It was fun.
Angel.
Good to see you. I'll see you guys again.
Take care, Ed. Thanks very much.
Bye-bye.
All right. So that wraps up. So we're Moon to Carter then, right?
What did we get, Ruby? Moon to Carter?
We're Moon to Carter.
You did, yes.
Kismet, baby. Let's go. Fun game. Thanks, Ed, for coming on. That about wraps up this week's episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for Ed Zeiler coming on and doing that awesome trivia. It was a real good time. And we'll try to do better the next time. Drew, take us home.
Excellent. Thank you, Eddie, for coming in and giving us that great trivia. Thanks, Toonses, for taking care of our show. Big shout out to the Beverly Hillbillies tonight with Jed and Granny and all of them. And I want to end the show saying, Bernsey, I know Bernsey would love this show, being he was kind of a prankster. Bernsey was a prankster, even though he always looked serious. He pulled pranks. He was a funny guy. Thank you so much for all the people subscribing and liking our show. And we will try to do better the next time. And say good night, Ted.
Good night, Ted.